So last week we talked about my birth story, your birth story. It's both of our stories, but mostly mine because it involved my kitty. And
I was wondering what awkward term you were going to use because you don't like to talk about genitalia. So I was waiting and you delivered.
I don't think I've ever called it that.
Never.
Rare. Welcome back to the CaPower Hour. I'm Loryn Powell.
And I'm Shawn Casey.
And we are
the CaPows. Kapow.
Quick reminder what that means. Powell, Casey, Powell, Kapow.
Kapow.
And Power Hour is a drinking game. So let's talk about the biggest struggles and biggest surprises. What was your biggest struggle when that first week, that first month, thinking back?
First month, I think, I knew it was going to be hard. Everyone told me it was going to be hard. I was ready to do it. I was on paternity leave, so it's not like I had I was trying to work at the same time, but the unrelentingness of it sort of surprised me.
The idea that you have to take care of a baby 24/7 was the biggest surprise for you and the biggest struggle.
I'm not saying it was a surprise. I guess it got to me. It was hard.
That, we had so many conversations where you were like, man, this is really hard. She needs to be attended to every minute of every day. I was like, what did you think having a baby was going to be like? What did you anticipate? And I think about, your life changed drastically the moment she was born. Now you're not getting as much sleep. However, we will touch on that in 1 second because we are very lucky and privileged to have gotten sleep, and I'll explain why. But you weren't getting as much sleep, let's say. You couldn't have none of your freedom, none of your social life. You couldn't work out that whole first month. It was a complete shock to your system. Whereas I had spent 9 months not having a social life, not really going out because being around drunk people wasn't fun. That I wasn't sleeping well because I swear that the third trimester is and was harder on my body and more uncomfortable than the first month recovering from childbirth. Mm-hmm. That third trimester really prepared me for the discomfort of childbirth. And you didn't have any of that.
Right.
While I was pregnant, you drink less, and we didn't eat out as much. We didn't go out as much, but you still got to go golfing.
Yeah, my life was relatively normal still.
Yeah. So it's a much bigger shock adjustment maybe to you.
Yeah. Where
I slowly I'd already been adjusting for almost a year.
And now by month 3, I've just succumbed and given up and, my life is over. I'm fine with that now.
You're a lot happier now that you've accepted it.
Yeah, exactly. Once you just give in and know you'll never have a single moment to yourself ever again in your life. It's fine. It's fine now. I'm fine.
What did you think having a child was going to be?
I was like, the baby's going to adjust to my life.
Which is an okay thing to have, but she's a baby.
Yeah.
She needs us.
I'm not saying it was right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it was hard for me.
And that's all, we had a pretty easy first month.
I know. And I can't imagine if we had a difficult baby with colic or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. It's we had a night nurse for a few weeks.
Yeah.
I was getting the sleep. I think for me, I like when things are fair and follow order.
And logical.
And it's there's nothing about a baby is logical. And so it's I did everything right. I checked this, check, did it all right.
We did it just like I did it yesterday when this worked.
Yeah. And it just completely changes. And that was pretty hard for me to just get over the fact that you can do everything right and the baby can still be upset, or you can do nothing right and the baby will be fine. And the illogical disorder of it all really sort of bothered my brain, I think.
Yeah. Backing up to something that you slipped in there, we did have a night nurse. I'm so hesitant to talk about that. She's a postpartum doula. She was one of our doulas, which is another reason I love that company, Breathe Bitch Doula. It was a one-stop shop. This is, we paid for everything. This is not sponsored. But it was, we had our doulas, we had our birth class, we had our postpartum doula, and then we also had postpartum meals made for us from one of the other doulas that she works with. So, and lactation consultant recommendations. It was an invaluable resource.
Texting
having
them 24 hours a day.
So one of the biggest surprises, and this will explain the night nurse situation. Going into parenting, I've never been around babies. I was the youngest child of 3, and I've never been around babies, never been around kids. I didn't know how I was going to react. You know, they say some women like don't really bond with their baby, or so that's like in the back of my mind, or postpartum depression, or just not knowing. I felt like I have no idea what I'm doing, and I hate not knowing what I'm doing. It's one of the biggest fears and anxieties I have of like leaving my house to go do something that I've never done before. It gives me so much anxiety. I don't like walking into something where I don't know what I'm doing. You know, for you really love the idea of a postpartum doula because that meant you got the opportunity to sleep and be more on during the day. For me, it was, I don't know what I'm doing. And the idea that we have this resource there to ask questions in that first month, that's what appealed to me about it. And then that's what ended up being the most amazing thing. So the postpartum doula, Madison, shout out Madison, we love you. The night we came home from the hospital, that's the other reason we were like in a hurry to get away from the hospital. They were like taking their time to check us out because it just fell at a weird hour. And I was like, no, I want to go home. They were like, you don't want to stay another night? I was like, no, because at home I have my bed and I have my postpartum doula waiting for us.
I have Madison.
I have Madison. Like, I want to go home and start my life. I don't want to be in this hospital anymore. With a night doula, she came from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So I was breastfeeding, or trying to, and she would bring me Quinn every time Quinn needed to feed, and she would sit in there and talk with me, and then, or not talk with me if it was 3 a.m. and neither of us wanted to speak. And then she would take her, change her, and put her back down. And she would stay in the nursery with Quinn. So then I got pretty restful, uninterrupted sleep between those feedings. And in the meantime, you were sleeping in the guest room. So you had completely uninterrupted sleep. And then when she would leave at 6 a.m., she would wake you up. And now you're essentially the daytime doula, and bringing me the baby to feed, changing her, getting her to go to sleep so that I could get some more sleep during the day. And you were super rested. Having her show up that first night and we're like, okay, what do we do? She helped with breastfeeding a little bit. You know, they were very like, hey, ask your doctor. Hey, ask a lactation consultant. Her, and I say they because her and our other doula, it was also great that like on days, there were some days that didn't work for Madison's schedule. So Haley subbed in, but we knew both of them. They'd seen my kitty. There it is. So, you know, we're bonded, we're close. It was great to have both of them to help us with Quinn. They felt like Quinn's aunties.
Yep. I think another piece there is that we live in California. My parents live in Michigan. Your parents live in North Carolina.
Right.
So we don't have that built-in support group.
And our parents, they're grandparents. They don't want to wake up every few hours. They want the daytime fun baby stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we had a night doula. It was amazing. So the whole first week she was there every night, and then it was more sporadic and we had some nights to ourselves. We had to do it ourselves. I don't regret it at all. But like what I was saying, I was so nervous about not knowing what I was doing. Having her there every night where we'd recap the day. When she showed up, we'd recap the day. Hey, here's how much she ate. Here's when she slept. Here's the struggles we're trying to figure out. Here's the questions we have. You know, what do you think we should do? It was invaluable, like having someone who knows what she's doing, has done this before, has worked with a bunch of families, has her own kid. It was the best thing we've ever done. And I can acknowledge that we're very fortunate. That's the other thing about having kids when you're older. If we had kids when we were in our 20s, we would not be able to afford that.
Right.
We would be exhausted. I mean, we're still exhausted. That's the thing. But we did just have this resource that I'm very grateful that we were able to provide for ourselves.
I remember my boss telling me about it because he had one, and he's like, I don't know what it cost, but it was the best money I ever spent, and I would spend double. Yeah. He's like, I literally have no idea, but it was, and so. It's
not even just, I like can't reiterate this. It's like, yes, I got great chunks of sleep between feedings because my sleep was going to be interrupted no matter what. If it was you bringing me the baby or me getting up to get, like, it was going to be interrupted no matter what. It was the ability to have this person there. So I didn't feel like I didn't know what I was doing. That made the whole first month, people would ask me all the time, how's it going? How are you doing? And I'm like, great. Like, Quinn's a newborn, so she sleeps. The naps in the newborn phase in that first month, I wish that we could go back to that. Like, she slept like an angel, all her naps. She just needed to wake up when she needed to feed, but it was easy to get her to go down, and she stayed down until we woke her up. We had to wake her up.
Yep.
That was the good old days, you know? And so that first month was really beautiful.
Yeah.
It was great for me. It was an adjustment for you, but it was a big surprise for me that it wasn't, I don't know, that
it's funny
came very naturally.
Because you were like, I haven't been around babies. I don't know how I'm going to react. I was the opposite. Like, I've been around babies.
Yeah.
I'm good with babies.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I worked in a daycare at the gym that I was a member of, and I was called the baby whisperer because I could get the babies to go to sleep. And so I wasn't really nervous about that. Like I wasn't scared about holding the baby. None of that scared me because I was comfortable with that.
Yeah, I didn't know how to hold her.
Yeah.
You had to show me. I was like, I feel like I'm going to break her. What am I doing? It didn't come naturally at first, holding her.
Yeah. My experience working in daycare and being around babies was a very limited scope. And so...
Because the parents came and took the babies away.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think I wasn't ready for the 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Do you think you're surprised because you thought you were really good with babies, and you are, but you thought maybe everything would be easier because you did have experience with babies, where I was like, I've never had experience with babies. I think this is going to be really hard. And then I was pleasantly surprised when I just enjoyed it. And you were unpleasantly surprised when you did not enjoy it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I felt that way. But I slowly came out of it, had some dark nights and some arguments with us. And
yeah, we've fought more than we ever fought.
Yeah.
Because it's like a big group project. Not big group, but it's like a group project. And the baby is the project. And you're realizing what I think is delicate, you don't think is delicate. Or what you think is delicate, I think is super rough. And it's all these things that you don't realize you have different opinions on how things should be done. Like that first week when we were trying to figure out her nap, she was crying. She was like 3 days old, I think. She was crying and you were like, no, we have to let her cry. And I'm like, she's 3 days old. I don't know anything about babies, but I think that's too young. And I broke down. You hear babies cry on airplanes. You hear babies cry in the mall, in grocery stores. And you're like, oh, that's so loud. That's so annoying. Now, when it's your child that's crying, it is soul crushing because it's not annoying. It is sad.
It's annoying for me. That's where it's still annoying for me.
Oh, man.
I don't. And obviously when something's wrong with her, yes, I feel differently. Most of the time when I know she's just tired and cranky, that doesn't hurt me. That annoys me. It
hurts me because it seems silly to you that she would cry because she's tired, but she doesn't know how to go to sleep.
I know. I'm not saying.
So it's making her really uncomfortable. It just kills me.
Yeah. Baby, no one's keeping you awake. Just go to sleep.
Yeah. Your biggest struggle was my biggest surprise. Was I felt very protective of her all of a sudden. And I think it took me probably a week, because that first week I was recovering and basically just sleeping and feeding Quinn. That also was really hard. That first week, our system, I would change how we did that. In that first week, it was okay. And I think you were incredible. You were like, I'm going to keep Loryn fed. I'm going to keep the baby sleeping, bring her, change the diaper, bring her to Loryn so that she can nurse. And back then nursing was taking 30 minutes longer. I'm in pain, just discomfort, having to sit on the destroyed kitty and trying to figure out breastfeeding. Breastfeeding was so painful, so difficult. And so you were just bringing her to me and then taking her away and bringing her to me and taking her away. And so that whole first week, I got my only experience with Quinn was her hurting me, was her trying to latch and me gritting my teeth through the pain of trying to nurse her. And then you got to take her away and do the snuggles and get her to go to sleep. And she would fall asleep on your chest. And I would just be sitting there jealous because you got all the good parts.
Snuggles were good. I just laugh. We had so many, everyone's like, oh, it's so magical. And this one guy's like, enjoy every second of it. And I'm just like, bro, I am straight up not having a good time. I do nothing. Yes, when she's laying on your chest and sleeping, amazing, right? When she's snuggling you, but I felt a majority of my time, I'm like, this is not magical. I wasn't really enjoying it. And maybe I'll look back and regret that. But, that first month was pretty hard for me.
Yeah.
I just felt like I was working so hard. And they're like, oh, they snuggle. I'm like, okay, that's 15 minutes out of my day is out of 24 hours, 15 minutes. And I felt like it wasn't, you're like, why did you have a baby? And I'm like, I don't know. I wanted to do something. But I've read that a lot of dads take a little longer to bond with the baby once they start. And here we are 3 months in, and I feel like I've definitely bonded much more strongly with her.
Yeah. As
she's laughing and smiling and doing a little more.
Basically, now that she's not boring, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Don't be boring and I'll love you.
Wow.
I'm kidding. That's the whole thing. Like all along, it wasn't that I didn't love her or I didn't want to be around her, but like the experience of raising a child was not magical for me.
In that first month, she's not smiling. She's not cooing. We're just trying to keep her alive. We're just trying to keep her fed and keep her sleeping.
Right. And
her wake windows were basically the whole time she's breastfeeding, and then she falls asleep breastfeeding and you put her down.
That's why I was just like, is this fun? Is this fun for anyone? Like, I don't know. I just.
It wasn't necessarily fun because of the struggle of breastfeeding, but it did feel magical to me, like having this tiny little person that needs you, who's just so cute and so sweet. Like at that stage, she wasn't really crying much, I feel like. Now she does, but...
See, you've already like forgotten.
I don't think she cried that much.
That's what parents do.
No.
I think that's the other thing is like people who have kids who are like 6 years old, they're just like, oh man, that newborn phase was so magical.
She didn't cry like she cries now.
She cried all the time.
Just like a few squawks, and then you put a boob in her mouth and she was fine.
See, this is what the human brain does. No. You just like, you slowly forget and you slowly like replace crying with magical cooing and you know, having so much fun.
We just had very different first month experiences.
Yeah, but the fact that you said she didn't cry very much and we're only 3 months out.
I think all things considered, she was an easy baby.
She's
still a baby.
I agree. All things considered, she was very easy, and like, I can't imagine what I would have done if we had a difficult baby.
The other surprise, so aside from me just being this like supernatural mother, so nurturing all of a sudden, that's a huge surprise. It's just how nurturing I immediately felt for her. You know, not having done something before is always awkward. Part of the reason, like, you know, we didn't want either of our parents there that first week. I didn't really want anyone there that knew me. I just felt really insecure about having this first week with this baby where I don't know what I'm doing, and having someone else there who knows me, watching me learn, made me uncomfortable. And so having that week where it's just you and me, when neither of us know what we were doing, it didn't feel as intimidating to learn with you, you know, to go through it with you. Once I kind of figured out, okay, I kind of feel like I get it. I understand baby. I can hold her now. Just how like connected immediately I felt to her. That was very surprising to me. I didn't think I was going to love the baby part, the newborn part. I thought I would just not really care about. And I thought I was more interested in the toddler part, you know, once they can talk and like play. But I'm obsessed with her as a baby. I now notice other babies. Like I never on social media, never noticed babies. I would just scroll. It's like they were invisible. Never noticed babies. Now I see babies in other people's we went to Bay Hill Tavern 2 days ago. Did you see the baby in the bar in the car seat? Yeah. See, I wouldn't have seen that before. And I saw it when we walked in. I heard the baby crying later, like all these things that I never noticed or paid attention to. Now I'm noticing. Not that I'm baby crazy, but I'm crazy about my baby.
Yeah.
That was a big surprise in a great way.
Do you think that became evident before you changed the diaper or after you changed the diaper?
I don't know, but diapers aren't so bad.
That's actually like people ask me, I'm like, I thought diapers were going to be awful.
Yeah.
And like within one day I was like, I don't care about diapers.
Yeah.
This is the easiest thing. Like it doesn't gross me out at all.
I mean, I know there'll be some people who are saying, just wait till she starts solids. Then I've heard it's a lot grosser, and she has had blowouts.
Yeah.
But we're not out in public. We're just in our house. Changing her outfit if she gets a little stinky stuff on it is not a huge deal. She hasn't had a blowout in public. She hasn't had a blowout in an airplane. So we haven't really had the experiences where shit hits the fan, literally.
Right. But so far, I mean, the Huckleberry app gives you a summation of your year. And from like November to December, there was like 300 and something diapers changed in like in a 6 week time period. So I was like, oh, yeah, once you do something 300 times in 6 weeks, it's like, yeah.
Do you want to tell them what the first blowout she had, why she had that?
Why she had it?
Yeah, because of her diaper that dad chose to put on her. You remember that?
Oh, yeah. So she was right at the point where she was switching from the newborn diapers to the size one diapers. And I was changing, and we had a few newborn diapers left. And I was like, I'll just use it. Like, I don't want to waste any money, 18 cents. And so I put a newborn diaper on her, knowing that like it was a little bit too small, but whatever, who cares? And literally like an hour later, she has like the biggest blowout ever while she's strapped in the carrier on my stomach.
Yep.
And I'm just like, man, something smells. And then like, I just look down and like,
It soaked through her PJs.
Soaked through her PJs.
It got onto your shirt.
Onto my shirt, onto the carrier.
It was on the front of her. It was on the back of her. Immediate bath.
Yeah.
Straight to the bathtub.
Straight to the bath.
Yeah. That was all so you could save 18 cents.
18 cents. Had I put on the correct fitting diaper, probably wouldn't have had that problem.
Yeah.
Remember the first time that we witnessed a blowout together and I put her down and I get it and I'm like, oh boy, this is big. And you are like standing next to me and like, I'm like clearly needing help. I'm clearly overwhelmed. And you look at me and you go, okay, I'm gonna go get a bottle. And you just like beelined out of the room. And I'm just like, wow.
I thought you had it under control.
Your fight or flight kicked in. You were all flight.
That was like her second big blowout. Yeah, because she went from like not really pooping to all of a sudden big ones. And I was like, okay, you've got this. I'm just going to get out of your way. Excuse me.
I feel like I was happy with the way I handled that because later I was like, hey, next time, can you make sure I'm okay before you bolt out of the room?
Yeah.
And now you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really thought you had it. I didn't know what we were dealing with yet. Now I understand.
All right. Is that enough poop talk for the podcast?
Yeah. Okay. It's not a poop cast.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I was like, man, parents love to talk about that. They love to talk about poop. Why is everybody talking to me about poop when I was pregnant? And now I get it. It's really fascinating and interesting and hilarious.
Well, like you have to pay attention to everything about the baby, and poop's a big thing.
And it's not that gross. The dog poop is way grosser. How about, do you have any good surprises? Like things that have surprised you that you didn't expect to like positive?
I think like baby's clothing and dressing her up. I mean, I like clothing and I like fashion. But finding cool outfits for her and like, I'm surprised at how much I actually enjoy that and like finding team outfits for her.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's mostly the team outfits.
Yeah, but like you've done a good job at finding like, oh yeah, she looks cool.
Yeah,
like,
thanks.
Yeah.
I love dressing her up.
Yeah.
And this makes sense because when I was a kid, I used to love Barbies. I wasn't a baby doll girl. I loved stuffed animals, but I was a big Barbie girl. And so she is my little Barbie and I love buying her clothes, which is hilarious because she's in PJs all the time, but PJs are so fun and easy and I don't have to put an outfit together necessarily. I can just put her in cool PJs. I also didn't expect to love baby clothes so much. But the struggle is like, what is her style? Figuring out what her style has been hard.
That's not a question that I've asked, but
there's so much girly stuff out there. And I'm not a girly girl. And I have a hard time putting her in super girly, frilly stuff. I don't know what it is. It's just too girly and too babyish. I don't know. I can't explain it. So
don't be a baby and don't be a girl.
But I was like so anti-pink with her nursery. Remember, I didn't want any pink because it just felt too cliche. And I didn't want to do our gender reveal to be pink because it was so cliche. And cliche is maybe not the right word, but it just felt like, oh, girls, they're soft and they like pink and they can't do anything. And because babies are soft and can't do anything, it was just like a double whammy. But as soon as she was born and she's so cute, I'm like, oh, this girl would look good in some pink. I'm like, she can pull off pink because she's adorable.
Have you met her dad? We're in our pink chairs.
I love neon pink. I still don't like Pepto-Bismol pink is what your sister calls it.
Does she?
Mm-hmm. Oh. She also didn't like the idea of doing pink in her nursery.
Pepto-Bismol pink.
Pepto-Bismol pink. But the styles I find myself gravitating for her are like adult styles somehow. So like bell bottoms, like flare pants on a baby that can't even stand up is so cute. And I was like, oh, maybe why am I liking, that little sweat jumpsuit I got her? It's pink, hooded sweat jumpsuit. So cute. Not baby clothes. I think maybe what I don't like is the like quintessential
traditional baby clothes,
frilly baby frou. Didn't
you like the clothes where she had little ruffles on her butt?
Yeah, that was surprising. I didn't think I was gonna like ruffles at all, but they look so cute on her jammies. Oh, okay. But man, I am a piece of work. Like, good luck to your parents and my parents trying to buy clothes for her because I feel like a mess in my brain of what I like and what I don't like.
Anyone listening to this podcast for the last 5 minutes can also agree with that.
Yeah. There's a couple things I put on her and I'm like, oh, this is not your style, babe. Like the black checkered flares I put on. They're so cute. And then I put a little black bodysuit on her, and she suddenly looked like David Rose from Schitt's Creek.
And you didn't like that?
It was like, it looked very emo.
She's not an emo girl.
She's too cute. She's too sweet. I don't know.
Cute girls can't be emo?
She's too smiley.
Oh, okay. Another thing that was surprising for me was just like how quickly as parents you adapt. It's like, oh, my new wake up time is 5.
Yeah.
And that just is like what we do now, and getting less sleep. And I don't know. I'm proud of us for just sort of like adapting really quickly, picking up new habits. I walk every day with her on the treadmill. I'm doing I think I've done like 25 out of 26 days in a row, walking 2 to 3 miles with her.
Mm-hmm. Just to clarify for everyone listening, Quinn is not walking on the treadmill.
Right.
She's in the carrier. The sleep thing. So let's talk about her sleep. She is a really good night sleeper. She's not great at day naps. She wants to be held. But as far as nights go, we have gotten way more sleep than the average person, because she has, since 6 weeks, she slept 6 hours at 6 weeks. And we, got it cleared from our pediatrician / sister-in-law. Like, can she sleep? Is this okay for her to go this long without feedings? And she wasn't underweight, or she was gaining weight. So all of that was okay. Because prior to that, it was like, don't let her go longer than 3 hours without a feed. And then the first night she slept 4 hours. The night doula Madison was there. And I just kept waking up. Like, I was waiting for her to come wake me up, and it was 3 hours. And I was like, oh, she hasn't woken me up yet. Okay, it's 3. And then I fell back asleep, woke back up 3.5. What's going on? And then at 4 hours, I lost my mind. She was sleeping in the snoo, and I was just like, and so I opened the door, and she got it completely under control. But I'm like, what's going on? Like, it's been 4 hours, and Madison's so sweet and so patient. She was like, yeah, she started stirring, but I'm just like I was going to not let her go too much longer. And I was just like, okay. And then I just went back to my room and waited for her to bring her to me. But it was fine. And then quickly thereafter, she slept 6 hours at 6 weeks. And then it was like 7 hours and 8 hours. And now she sleeps at the most, she sleeps 11 hours in the middle of the night. Doesn't wake up for feeds at all. We're really lucky. Especially if you're exclusively breastfeeding, which I'm not, you do have to wake up every 2 to 3 hours. And so we are getting way more sleep than most people, even though, yes, we have to wake up at 5.
But we could be
and
getting
6.
more.
I'm like,
12 hours at 12 weeks. She didn't hit her target. So is this indicative of how I'm going to be as a parent? I'm like, yeah, you're doing pretty good, but like B+ is an A+. So
I'm okay with that for grades, but don't be like that for sports. Don't be that sports dad.
She has the potential. I just see the potential in her.
There's so many like role reversals I just didn't see coming.
What do you like?
Like you being the one that's like hard on her or like expecting more from her grades and stuff. And I'm the softie, like saving her. Like you were going to be the strict parent. And I feel like I'm going to be the one that she can have whatever she wants. If she asks me for it, she can have it. I know,
that's already very evident in the first 3 months of her life.
She cries, she gets it. She looks at me, she gets it. Whatever she wants, she can have. I'm a pushover.
I need her to want 12 hours of sleep.
She wants it.
Yeah.
She's a baby. I have to keep reminding you, like she is 3 months old. She's doing great.
There are other babies who sleep 12 hours at 12 weeks. It's possible.
We should be really happy.
I'm joking. Of course
okay.
I am. Yeah,
okay.
I know. It's incredible. I tell everyone that, and they're just like, what? My baby didn't do that till 9 months or a year. So she
gets us back during the day, but we're really lucky at night.
I'd much rather have a full night's sleep than have her sleep all day and be up all night.
Yeah. We haven't, of course, there's like 4-month regression, I guess, where they wake up a lot in the middle of the night and that's going to really mess with you because there's no logical reason for them to wake up.
Yeah.
They're not hungry. The diaper's dry. They just can't figure out day and night. Their circadian rhythm is off or something.
She'll figure it out.
Quinn, I hope you're listening. Your dad has very, very big expectations of you.
It's just the start. D1. Can't go D1 if you don't start day 1.
So far, has she made any signs that you think she's going to be a great athlete? She's really long.
Yeah, she's long. She's got pretty good hand-eye coordination already. She's grabbing stuff.
She's very strong. Yeah. Like she pushes off on her legs. She's got chubby little quads.
Yeah.
They're adorable.
I think she's going to be left-handed. She grabs everything with her left hand.
Yeah.
I started watching the Women's World Cup soccer special on Netflix this morning, and I started thinking of Quinn. I'm like, oh, maybe she'll be a soccer player.
Yeah, with those quads. I think so.
Yeah.
She's got thunder thighs. She could strangle somebody with those. Isn't that a wrestling move?
Probably. Do you think people are going to want to listen to our podcast exclusively about Quinn?
I don't know. We'll do an episode kind of talking about adapting our social life, and the drinking is just going to be a part of it. I feel like, everyone asks, where am I going with this? What's my content going to look like? And I always just say, I do what's interesting to me. And I find, if it's Fireball or if it's fashion, the things that I just get very excited about are the things I want to make videos about. And right now that's my child, but also some taste tests. And like, I'm always just going to I'm going to talk about and do stuff that's things that excite me. And right now Quinn excites me.
Yeah. I think that's just, generally speaking, people talk about what's interesting to them in their lives, right? Like people get obsessed with CrossFit or they get, it's like, but that's just what consumes their life. Right. And so it's natural I remember like before we had kids and be like, man, people are just like obsessed with their kids. And I'm like, I get it now though. It's like you spend, like I was saying, 24 hours a day trying to keep this person alive. And so it becomes the main source of topic in your life. And I think that's fine. Yeah.
We don't have anything else to talk about because all we have going on right now is Quinn.
We're going to Big Bear for your birthday.
That's true. Yeah. I do a snowy, I love snow. This is so off topic, but here you go. If you've made it this far and you're like sick of hearing about Quinn, here's your moment. I'm obsessed with snow. I grew up in the mountains of Virginia, Northern Virginia, and we would get the blizzard of 96. Like we had winters and snow, and I never had to drive in it as like a driving adult or a driving teenager. I never had to go to work in it. Snow, since I was a child, has always been like this magical thing. You get out of school. There were no repercussions. You're never too cold. Like I have only glorious, beautiful, magical memories of being in the snow and playing in the snow. So I love snow. Like think about what's my email address, my coupon email address, my old AOL screen name.
A dozen snowflakes.
Yeah. I freaking love snow. I thought of that when I was like 13. Okay. It's poetic. What was yours? Shawn the man, 42.
Shane, Billy, Joe, Bob.
67.
No number.
Shane, Billy, Joe, Bob. Yep. How does Billy feel about you using part of his name?
We've never discussed that. He was Hurricane 319.
Why 319?
I don't know. 359? 319? I don't know. I don't know what the numbers. That's a whole other topic. Your AOL and semester handle.
Anyway, I love snow so much. And my birthday is always in February because that's how birthdays work. And every year we've had friends who love planning like a Cabo trip in January. And I'm always just like, what? You want to go to the beach in winter? If I'm taking a trip in winter, because I've lived in California for the past 15 years, if I'm taking a winter trip, I want to go to snow. I don't want to go be in the sun. I don't want to see my legs until June. Every birthday we've gone somewhere. I think I've gone to Big Bear, which is the mountain place very close to LA and San Diego. It's like 2-hour drive away where that's why you can snowboard in the morning or surf in the morning and snowboard in the afternoon, as they say here in California. I don't do either of those things, but you could. We did like Copenhagen for my 30th because I was like, I want to do a winter European trip. And we went to Copenhagen and it snowed and it was beautiful, most magical. We went to Switzerland last year for my birthday. Also, like I love Europe winter.
Also, side note, we never put out a video about Switzerland. We probably have 25 hours of footage and you're afraid to put out a video because it doesn't fit the timeline. So
I'm not afraid of anything.
Can this be the poll for the podcast? Is it okay for Loryn to put out a video when it doesn't fit the timeline of having the baby?
Look, when we got back from Switzerland, I had crazy morning sickness and I didn't make videos for like 3 months. I just like couldn't.
It sounds like excuses to me.
So now I have all this Switzerland footage to go through.
Yeah, let's make a Switzerland video.
Okay.
It was an incredible, magical trip.
Okay.
I'm seeing Zermatt videos. I'm seeing Igladorf videos. I'm seeing all the places that we went last year. People are putting out videos. So it's going up.
Okay. Why don't you learn to edit? That'd be great. Didn't you pull your weight around?
No, I'm on-screen talent.
Anyway, yeah, we're going to Big Bear because we haven't really traveled with Quinn anywhere. This will be our first like road trip with her. She hates her car seat.
She's never been in the car for more than 30 minutes. So we're like, hey, why don't we drive 3 hours and see?
It's going to be great. It'll be magical once we get there. I've got all these snow outfits planned for her. Oh, we found a way to bring Quinn into this topic. Look at that. I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
How is it almost March? We just had a baby. And now it's March. Like, did anything else happen while we were gone? Seriously, time is flying.
My dad asked who Quinn is going to root for in basketball in the tournament.
Both. Unless they play each other, in which case, whoever wins. We'll flip a coin.
She does have a North Carolina Bear that she loves.
That's the nice thing about our basketball teams is we're not rivals.
Yeah.
I'm happy to root. I want your team to win until they play mine, which historically we have always won.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's easy for you to take that approach because you've beaten us every single time you play us.
Well, how do you feel?
I don't hate you guys.
You sure? Sounded like someone was holding a gun to your head while you said that.
No, we're not rivals.
Yeah. Okay.
We have a mutual hatred of Duke.
Right.
I think every team in college basketball has a mutual hatred of Duke.
Correct. Okay, well, wow. That was just so easy to quickly fill a whole episode. And we have so many other things to still talk about. I still want to kind of touch on our breastfeeding journey, our feeding, just feeding her in general. I could do a whole episode about that. All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Do we have plans to return back to some like normal templated stuff?
Yeah, maybe.
Previously, we would have a whole like outline printed out that we would go through and we had different sections.
Kind of winging it. You know, I'm a parent now. I don't have time for outlines. You're lucky I'm in here.
Your whole outline is just Quinn.
Yeah, I did write down all the suggestions that I asked everyone, what do you want to hear about? And I took note of the things that people said the most. I mean, I guess give us the feedback, people. Is this interesting? Should we go back to a template? Let us know.
All right.
All right.
We're CaPower.
We are CaPower.